I am live after such a long time. It looks like it's hell in here because I have this really cool lamp. It's actually really cool. Watch this. Watch the magic of my... It's a magical... See? Oh god, that's even worse. I think I could go with this, yeah. It was in my face. It was in my face, so, yeah. That was not planned. So, I'm Phantom Enchantress. I do witchy shit. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell some things that happened to me recently. So, one of the reasons I'm not part of, like, a coven, and there's two different kinds of witches. There is, like, more of the Wiccan, solitary kind of type witch that decides to do what they want in their life, which is really cool. As a person, that's really cool. You do what you want, when you want. But covens witches find it cool. They find strength with others. And I find strength within myself. I can have others give me that strength and remind me of that strength, but in the long run, I want to do what I want to do, and I will take suggestions, I will follow people's wisdom, whatever that may be, and I have no problem with taking advice and listening. However, there has been some people that, for some reason, do not like the idea of me potentially there's some people that don't exactly approve of either me being a witch or the way that I am being a witch. So, thing happened. Okay, I'm not mentioning any names. I'm classy, really classy, you know. Yeah, have you seen my previous videos? Where, yeah, it was really classy back then. Yeah, so I had a mentor. I had a few, actually. And I had a lot of people that were just paramount for my witchcraft journey, and I adored them, and I loved them, and I listened to every word, and I just soaked it up. I was very much like a sponge, and I took what I needed, and then I became what I am. A work in progress. Completely insane. Thank you. But no, I think there are people in our lives, my mom always tells me this, there are some people in your life that are there for a season. They're there for a time when you need them. And so, you know, these kind of people I kind of figured out that they just didn't match my energy. You know, some of them were a bit chaotic, some of them were actual chaos witches. And, you know, I'm a big firm believer, just because you seem to be, you know, you've done something bad does not mean you are a bad person. That is a very caveman, like, response to, like, you bad, you bad person. No, that's not how it works. Things are not as black and white as you think they are. The people that say bad things are done by bad people are the people that essentially think, yeah, you don't, just because someone comes off as being bad or comes off as, like, there are some people that are just, they come off as helpful and wise, they're a guru, they're sage, and you absorb all the information that you need, and you develop under their care, and then eventually you become more independent and more confident in who you are, potentially. And, you just do what you gotta do, you know? And it's not discrediting the people that have helped you. It's not just saying, oh my gosh, you know, you're useless to me, I've absorbed all that I need from you. It's not like that. It's more of like, okay, you've really helped me, and I'm going to take a step back now, and I'm going to take a hold of my life, and I'm not going to conform to anybody. And I've had some flack, especially with some of my family, about me being a witch. Majority of my family doesn't care. They love me for me. And if I am a insane cackling witch, then they'll be, we love you, you know. And I have a couple friends that I have lots of friends, and I don't think they care about that either. But I'm not advertising either. I don't go up to someone and say, I'm a witch. Yep, that's what I am. That's like saying it, like, that's like going up to someone and saying, I'm autistic. You know, it's like, really? No idea. It's like, yeah, I am autistic, but it's just like, it's so a part of who I am that it's almost like, oh, that's just the usual, you know, that's me. And it's gotten to be that way with being a witch, it's just me. But it really does bother me. I'm just gonna say, when there's that one person that just, like, can't accept that you are at a certain point in your life. And this is the thing that really miffed some people off, okay? First of all, I was doing tarot readings, okay? I did some tarot readings. I put it on social media, put it on Facebook. And I did this with the best intentions, okay? And I said, hey, I got all the... I took a photo of all my tarot decks, which at the time I could actually take a photo of it. Now it has expanded. And it is exploding in my room. Yeah, sort of. But, you know, there's certain things that, for instance, so I said I was going to do some free tarot readings, and I was like, you know, DM me back if you want some, if you'd like a reading. And I was like, okay, cool. And I I didn't think of anything of it. And then sometime later, I guess, like, secretly, I didn't know, like, nobody came to me on Facebook or in person saying, we don't like the fact that you're doing free tarot readings, because, you know, usually the average, so the enterprising witch, otherwise the person that makes money, there's nothing wrong with making money, okay? There's nothing wrong with wanting to support yourself and wanting to use your abilities to do that, okay? If you have an ability to do tarot, make money doing that. But normally what they do is they say, okay, I'm gonna give you 30, so the first one's free. It's on me. And, but the second one is, if it's a 6 spread, it's 30. And, if it's a 16 spread, it's going to be 50 to 60. Okay, and if you want anything more than that, like multiple readings, that's gonna be, you know, more. But the first one's free. So it's like, they kind of expect that, like, it's weird, but on Facebook and anywhere, they expect you to embrace that, I guess. They're like, why aren't you making money? I'm like, because I like to help people, that's why. I'm sorry. And it's just this whole, like, some of these groups don't have a lot of, like, rules. And if they do, they're not implemented. They're not moderated. There's no admins that are actively going, oh my. You know, they're not doing that. And in Facebook, that's really common. And you just get I'm just going to say, you get a bunch of women together. You get a bunch of anybody together. Men, women, mixed, whatever. You're going to have some problems. Because, yes, there are certain moments, like when you go to a concert or a theater or whatever, that everybody's involved and in a good mood. But there's some places where it's a very concentrated, like, smaller area, and that could mean a Facebook group. And there just gets to be tension between people. And it has nothing to do with that someone's doing it wrong, but so I had my mom actually inform me. She's like, I think some of the women have a problem. And I was like, what? Well, on the group, they seem to not like the fact that you're doing free tarot readings. And I was like, who? She named a few people, but I was like, that didn't really mean much. But apparently there were some some women on this Facebook group that didn't like the fact that I was giving free tarot readings. Oh, how dare I? I didn't charge them on the second go. It's like, just how dare I do that? Huh. I don't know don't know why I can't see the chat. But eventually I will see it. And I will believe it. But yeah. There's a couple of people that, you know, like, I have to say that I overshare sometimes, okay? I do. I say things that probably people don't need to hear right away. And it's because I just want to be honest. I am a very honest person. I'm a horrible liar. And I feel that, you know, I don't want to be that person in the past that, like, I've had people that are like that will say, oh, you know, my word is my bond, and then they break it, and then they disappoint you, and they hurt you. So I don't want to be that person. So I try to be just as upfront and honest. And it's really sad when you discuss things with people that you love and care about, and they just get this, you know, they're like, I'm not down with it. I don't like that. So I don't advertise. I don't talk. I know my instincts, and I know that there's a time and a place for everything. So the best thing, like, a lot of my friends are Christians. So, you know, I don't discuss it with them. And I respect that. I respect the fact, you know, you just go near someone and they're like, okay, this is not someone that this is not somebody that you need to discuss this with. And it's just common sense. But then there's these people that appear to be loving and accepting. They appear to be motherly or fatherly or whatever. They appear to have all their shit together. And those are the people that you confide in. But sometimes you don't know if that's the person you can confide in, because there's some people that are very good at hiding who they are and what they're thinking and what they're feeling in that given moment. Because they'll be all accepting, and I know this. I've had people that are like this. I've grew up with people like this. I've had people that raised me that were like this. They would smile, and then afterwards they would say, I don't like that. Or they would say some, like, backhand comment about, you know, this person says that, and, you know, and it's just, what hurts is that some of these people kind of spread misinformation about me, and I'm not gonna let it bother me. I don't care who knows what and what people think of me, but what I like facts, okay? I love fictions, but I also like facts. So if you're going to come to a conclusion about me, get to know me, okay? Get to know where I'm from, how I got here, and what I've had to go through to get where I am. Like, you got to figure that out. And if you're taking only one person's opinion, and their opinion may not be, unless it's from me, it never happened, okay? Like, unless I personally tell you that this is what I said, and this is what I did, and this is what I'm doing, it didn't happen, okay? Like, it didn't happen unless I said it did. And even if I because in the long run, I'm going to be honest. It's just what I'm going to do. I will tell you. Am I rude about it? No. But sometimes I wear my feelings on my sleeves, and I feel that I need to share, and I overcompensate for that. And it's quite common for, you know, there's a lot of people like that. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just learning balance and learning who to trust and who not to. And not everybody's trustworthy. And it's really confusing. But apparently on this Facebook group, I'm not going to name what the Facebook group, there's a lot of Facebook groups that were toxic, okay? So this could be any one of them that is out there, the millions that are out there. So, yeah, apparently there's a couple ladies that didn't like me doing free tarot. Well, I don't care. I'm sorry if my kindness offends you. I'm sorry if my goodwill towards humanity is an issue, but it's still an issue with you. It's not with me, because I don't give a shit. I mean, it bothered me for like 5 seconds. I was like, oh, should I be concerned about this? Nope. You know, let me think about this. No. You know, that is this issue. That would be, so yeah, I don't care. But what really hurts is when you let somebody into your corner, you let somebody near your soul, you let someone near your heart, and you pour your heart out to them, and they don't hear it. They don't hear where your heart is coming from. They don't understand why your heart is the way it is. And I think the most hurtful thing that can ever be done is, in my life, is being misjudged. There's certain reasons of why people misjudge me, and yeah, I might contribute to it. I might have some, like, slight narcissistic traits. That doesn't make me a narcissist, which I fight against every day. I like to be the center of attention. Do I need to be all the time? No. Do I want to be? Hell no. So, you know, I need downtime. I need to be me. I need to be in isolation, and I need to relax and just live my life, you know, as I should, you know, but I do socialize. And so, you know, what hurts is when you put someone in your corner and you know, drape your arm around them and you're like, this is me, look at me, and they're like, oh, yay, but I don't like that. Like, okay, see, this is the main thing, okay? I did not become a witch because I hated God, okay? I did not become a witch because I wanted to worship Satan, okay? I don't even believe that there is a Satan, and most witches don't. They don't believe there's a central evil. They either believe that evil comes from a different place, it comes from people, it depends on what they believe, but they don't believe that there is a central evil. And they also don't believe that there's a central place where people's souls suffer for ever and ever, okay? And I'm just going to say, you can prove, if you're going to quote scriptures to me about how hell exists, there's only like a couple of very obscure things in Revelation, and Revelation has millions of different like interpretations, and it depends who you talk to. So that's really shaky ground that you're putting that on. Oh, but it says the smoke rises up forever and ever. Yeah, it was talking about Babylon. It didn't say anything about hell. So yeah, don't quote me on that, because hell in itself was something during the time of Shakespeare. Hell was very much a satire. It was something that people laughed about. They would put on plays, and there would be this guy with horns that would stab this guy in the ass, and everybody would laugh. And Dante's Inferno itself was a satire. It was a comedy. It was a series of poems making fun of the concept of hell. It wasn't until Catholicism, the Catholic Church, came in, and they started using it to get money, to get power, to get control. They wanted, and I'm not saying all religions like this, I'm not hating on Catholics, okay? There are beautiful people everywhere, and if you're a Catholic, I love you. I do. And I think that your relationship with God is special. Don't give that up. No matter. Don't let anybody discourage you from this, okay? That's what I'm saying is historically, not Catholics individually. It's different. I've known Catholics that are very nice. I've known Mormons. I've known Masons. I've known all sorts of people, okay? And they're very nice individuals. They've never caused any pain or trouble with me. So I don't have a bone to pick with anyone. But I know history, and history repeats itself. And hell was used as a tactic to get people to be baptized, and if they didn't, they would say, well, your child is going to be doomed to hell if they don't get baptized. We're not going to be, you couldn't bury your loved ones if you didn't do what the church said. It was a very hard times. Catholics aren't like this anymore, but they, sort of. But this was an era where it was their way or the highway. And a lot of people they so-called killed for witchcraft that's not to be mistaken with the Salem witch trials. There was only one woman that was burned, the rest were hanged, and none of them were witches either. They were accused of being witches. And the thing is, any woman that had a say or a word or just spoke up a little bit more, maybe she was too beautiful, she was just too something, and people would burn what they didn't understand. They also burned things that they knew would topple over their power. They didn't want a revolution. The Catholics didn't want a revolution, so essentially they used hell as an instrument to tell them, okay, you need to give me penance, you need to stay in place, you need to do this. So hell to me, I think, is a tool. It's not real. I don't think it's a real place. If you think it's a weird place, you got some mental issues, okay? Because if you believe in an everlasting God, why would he invent like an ever-loving God that loves everyone? Why would he throw people to suffer for all eternity? That makes no freaking sense. And another thing, Christians always say, well, I don't believe in reincarnation. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. Because reincarnation means a transformation. When you get baptized, you're putting to death yourself, rising up as a new person. Jesus himself died and rose as a new person. So, no, you don't believe in past life reincarnation, what Hindus and Muslims, or what, not Muslims, but Buddhists believe. No, you don't believe in that. But you, as Christians, believe that there is some sort of massive reincarnation, a transformation. You're not going to be who you are right now. And I'm all for that. Sure, let's be something new. I would love that. But as I said, I think that there is a possibility of past lives. I've not really investigated my own. I'm really supportive of people when they come to me and they want to know about their past lives and they want a tarot reading or something, and I'm all for it. I'll be like, okay, cool. But it's like karma. I don't fully believe it. I don't put my entire heart and soul into it and think, yes, this is the truth. And I also don't judge people. If somebody tells me that they believe that a certain God is speaking to them and they need to follow them, that's beautiful. Okay? Just because I'm a witch doesn't mean I'm going to be like, you love God. No, I'm going to be, because I think the issue is that not that I was angry at God or that I rejected him. It was because I was tired of conforming. I was tired of conforming to people's idea of God. It was not about the fact that I hated God or that I turned my back on God. I was tired of going through the motions of being a good person, serving others, and just being completely empty. I was so empty. And none of those things made me happy. I helped the community. I helped the church. My church, not the Catholic Church. I helped the church. I helped the community. I helped. I helped everyone. I never took care of myself. I was pretty much forced not to. It was considered selfish. You do this for the family, for the church. You do this, do this, do this. Oh, you're tired? You're always tired. Let's go. We're going. There wasn't like I said, I'm tired. That wasn't an excuse. That was me complaining, essentially. But, yeah, when you tell me to do something at 7 o'clock at night, and I say I'm tired, you're always saying this. Yes, I do. Because at 7 o'clock, I'm tired. It's just physiology, okay? Your body processes everything. It thinks, your blood flows, and everything has to function, and all of this organs are running, they're cleansing out your blood, they're pushing it back in. This all takes a tremendous amount of energy. So when it gets to be 5 to 7:30, you're ready to hit the hay. You're ready to relax. You're tired. That's just physiology. That's just, I can't help it. I can't control that. Even if I just sat there on my ass all day, I'm still going to be tired at 7 p.m. Okay, that's just life. You know, and it's just, I think people have this misconception that because you're a witch, you just want to reject God. No. Guess what? I found God. I found him. I did. I found him. And is it your God? Guess what? I'm not going to tell you, because it's my personal beliefs. And I will never go out of the way and disrespect someone else's beliefs. In fact, if you became a missionary and you're going out and telling people the gospel, that's beautiful. I support that. That's wonderful. You're spreading positivity. Why would I be not okay with that? If you're a good person and you're living your truth and you're allowing people to, you know, find out where this joy is coming from, then by all means, shine, sunbeam, shine. The earth says hello, whatever. I am never going to bash or disrespect someone because they believe something I don't. I'm not going to prove, I used to think that I needed to prove a point, but I don't anymore. I don't need to prove a point. I just don't. I don't need to prove a point. And I know that so I don't really discuss a lot of the things, like the haunted objects in my room, with people that are not like-minded. I don't even really talk about it with my family. Because, they're into things, and they're just not into the things that I'm into, and I respect that. I tried, doing that with my mom. I was like, look at all this paranormal stuff, ah! And she said, I'm not into this, and I was like, oh, okay, and I was like, that's cool. So it's not that my mom doesn't love me, she loves me. She just has certain interests, and they're not mine, so that's okay. She wasn't rude about it. I mean, I might have been a little hurt, and I was like, okay. But she wasn't being mean, so it was just like she was setting boundaries, and when you set boundaries, the one thing that I resent, though, is when someone goes over my boundaries, and they're just like, oh, I was just looking out for you, we love you so much, and I'm like, I don't care how much you love me. I don't care if you love me to the moon and back. I don't care if you love me to Pluto and back. I don't care if you love me all the way beyond the Andromeda galaxy and back. Respect my boundaries. I have sought in my entire life, all I've ever wanted is respect. That's the only thing I've ever wanted. I don't want riches. I don't want jewelry. I don't want movies and TV and, well, I do want movies and TV, don't get me wrong. I don't want material shit. I want somebody to look me in the eye and say, I love you, and I accept you, and I respect where you are. And that is why I have that same attitude. I have that same, there's some things that never change, but, you treat others as you would want to be treated. And that's something that is very deeply rooted into my core, is that I need to be accepting and loving towards everyone and whatever walk, whatever, walk they're in. And I also learned not to judge the chapter that I've come into, because I realized that people aren't just one chapter. I've also found out that a lot of the things that this is going to be really hard for people that have this upbringing. I have the same upbringing, maybe slightly different. Obviously, we don't have the same childhood. Thank God. But it's this issue is that, you know, with being a witch and being there, you know, it's really hard to get out of that headspace of a witch is bad, witchcraft's wrong, it's the devil, when really the pentagram existed long before Christianity. It existed long before the Church of Satan even became a thing. The Church of Satan was established in 1969 here in the States. You want to know what the pentagram really means? The pentagram means earth, fire, water, air, and spirit. It's a symbol of peace. It's like a peace sign. It says, that means I am one with the elements and I am one with myself. I love myself and I love the earth and all that the earth is around me. I don't worship it. People think, oh, because you're a witch, you worship other gods. No, I don't really worship any gods, exactly. I know who God is, and yeah, let's stick with that. I don't really worship anyone, to be honest. Maybe Bette Midler. You know, that's the only woman I worship, by the way. If anything, I worship myself, okay? I'm not setting up altars to myself, but I am loving who I am, and I enjoy being who I am, and for the first time, I'm happy being who I am. So that is a powerful thing. Loving yourself, worshiping yourself, making sure that you are taking care of yourself is very much that's worshiping to me. Like, I'm not sitting here in love with myself kissing the mirror, but I'm literally looking in the mirror and saying I like the person that I'm seeing. That's the kind of worship I mean. Okay, you know, it's just like Bette Midler. I don't have an altar with all of her pictures and candles and shit. No, I adore her. Yeah, there's the key. So worship can be like a very, I'm just going to say, a very loose term. When people go like this, that's literally respect. That's like, you know, that's a joke. I have theater friends that do that. And it's hilarious. And usually the people, like, there was this one kid, hilarious, so much fun, great energy, had a great mother, and he was, like, bowing down to my theater director, and it was hilarious. So, and the director was cracking up, and it was a sign of respect, because he's really, you know, these people that are involved with the theater trip, they're big people in the community, so, you know, it was respectful. Do we actually go out and worship people? I don't think we do, you know, we don't, I think we do that, but when they say, okay, you know Selena Gomez, I just worship her, that's literally saying, when you're saying, I'm obsessed with this person, that's like saying, I really like them, I really admire them, they're really awesome, and I just love seeing them, or I love being around them, or I love watching their movies, or listening to their music. That's all that means, okay? I'm not sitting, like, you gotta realize that worship doesn't always mean worship, like, worshiping the Lord. It can also mean, I really admire this person. Yeah, literally. It's not, it's not cultic. So, if anything, I work with spirits. I don't worship them. I'm not connecting with Satan or Lucifer. I've never summoned him. I might have Ouija boards here and there, but they're more for decorative purposes, because now that I'm more in tune with the spirits, I don't need to use a Ouija board. It's not that I don't know how. I do. I've had a lot of videos of how to use a Ouija board. And as I've said before, the only thing dangerous is curiosity instilled with ignorance. So if you are curious, but you don't know what you're doing, that's dangerous. If you're not used to spiritual stimuli, you're not used to spirits guiding you, it can be very overwhelming, and it can feel invasive. It can make you nauseous. It can be whatever, you know, it can be a really bad experience for you. And if you don't know what you're doing, please don't use. I would suggest I'm not going to say, please don't. I'm going to say, I would suggest doing some research, getting somebody that knows what they're doing, taking advice, and figuring out what you can do with a Ouija board, because Ouija boards aren't bad. It's a piece of cardboard. It's a piece of wood. Never set them on fire. Not a good idea. Never break them or whatever. We do not live in an era where we burn things we don't understand. Okay, that's one part of history that I think we should not repeat. Okay, we can't just burn things and expect them to go away. That's not logical, and that's a form of psychopathy. Burning shit. That's the kind of stuff that Hitler did, okay? Like, seriously. Hitler burned books. What about the communists in China and Russia? They burned books, okay? These are crazy people. Why do you want to do what crazy dictators do? Anywhere. You know, it's like, to me, burning something, that is just weird. But I've had people that have suggested it. They're like, oh, you have a haunted object, I would burn it. I spent $30 on that haunted object, okay? I spent $30. I am not a rich person. $30 might seem like a dime to someone that's rich, but to me, that's valuable. Yeah, so why would I spend 30 to 40 bucks? Maybe 70 if I'm feeling adventurous. It's only happened once. Why would I go out of my way and be like, you know what? I'm gonna burn this. I might as well just get withdraw $30 from the bank and just set a match to it. That's what you're asking me to do. Oh, you know what? My life isn't hard enough. I'm just gonna burn my shit now. Yeah. Like the rest of the California. You know what? Like, why would I burn things? First of all, it's not a good idea to burn things. There's a lot of things in places that you cannot burn shit. Burning causes a lot of problems with the atmosphere. It triggers... smoke is really bad for your lungs. You cannot be inhaling whatever. I don't care if it's pure wood. There's chemicals in it, and when you breathe it in, you're damaging your lungs. It's just like smoking cigarettes, okay? Same thing. And it irritates people's allergies. You have to think of people in your demographic area. What are you doing? We don't live in villages. We live in cities and towns. And there are laws that need to be, like, sometimes you need a permit to set a fire. So you're asking me to go get a permit so I can set fire to my stuffed clown? You're fucking mental. Well, to be fair, this person that made the comment was not from this country, so they probably didn't understand. I think they were from Africa or something. There's people in Africa, and I don't know if this is actually true, but there are, like, certain people that are very superstitious, and if they see a black cat, they'll, like, fillet them and put them on trees and shit, you know. There's a lot of superstition there. I'm not saying that they're all like that, but there are some areas where there's a lot of superstition. I'm not talking about voodoo. I am actually a real supporter of voodoo. I support it because it's a type of magic. And although I don't agree with some of the methods in which they do their magic, I just don't have enough money to... I don't have enough money to practice voodoo. I don't have enough bones. And there seems to require a lot of blood and bones, and I like my blood where it is. I don't do blood magic. I don't stab myself and drip on a pentagram. That's You have some very sick fantasies, madam, or sir. I don't do that. Do I look like someone who does? Don't answer that. I don't. I so don't. I have no interest in that. I think that's a... So I grew up in a time where you cut yourself, you need to see a therapist. Yeah. I don't judge people that, like, I judge them. I don't, like, judge people. I don't go to someone that like, I knew a girl that would cut herself. And she had a really bad home life. And, you know, I kind of asked, I said, did you do those yourself? And she's like, it's okay, you can tell me. And she's like, uh-huh. And I said, there's no judgment. And I totally understand. You know, I understand that you're trying to distract yourself from a lot of pain. And I've also become really accepting of that. But I do think that somebody that's trying to cut themselves does need some help. And if that's the way you practice magic, good for you, but I'm not doing that. It's like people that have tattoos. They're beautiful. I love them. I will make comments about them, but I don't want one. You know, I don't like pain. I don't like pain. And it may look pretty, but no thanks. No thanks. I don't need that. Thank you. It's bizarre. Like, I knew at a very young age that I was never going to get a tattoo. I thought about it a couple times. I was like, should I? Nah. It was like, nah. I'll just look at people's tattoos and go, Little Mermaid. You know, like Ursula. You know, it's like, and they're like, wow. And I always make a compliment because I know, you know, they get tattoos because they want people to see them. It's not just like they slap it on and are like, don't talk to me. No, it's usually met when I say, oh my gosh, you know, especially when you have a woman that has her entire leg, like she's got the short pants, and she's like, you know, and I'm looking at her leg, which would seem really inappropriate, but it's right there, okay? That's right in front of you. And you're like, that's cool. And she had, like, Ursula. This one woman had, like, Ursula and Ariel on there. So it was, like, Little Mermaid and Ursula. And so I was just like, wow. That's so cool. It says, oh, yeah, I got this, like, 2 years ago, and oh, I really like it, don't you? And I was like, I love it. And, you know, I'm saying, if you have that much leg exposed, which, hey, show as much of your leg as you want. I will enjoy. I will enjoy it. But as long as you're comfortable, go ahead. I don't care, you know. But when you got your leg, you're on shorts and you're showing off your tattoo. You want someone to make a comment. You want someone to look at your legs, okay? It's like if you wear tight pants, you want someone to look at your ass, okay? That's just, I mean, I used to think that people were perverts for looking. But you know what? They're looking. They're always gonna look. There's gonna be somebody that's gonna look at you. And you gotta realize not to give a shit. Now, if the person is pursuing you or harassing you or trying to assault you, call 911. Cry, scream as loud as you can. And I tell this to people that are in a situation when they're at home. You know, there's so many people that just like to be honest about whatever it is. They're like, oh, I'm at home and I'm all by myself. That disturbs me in so many levels. I understand that it's really great because you're telling people, oh my gosh, there's nobody home and there's this weird supernatural shit. Do you hear that? And, you know, that's cool. That's cool and all. But I tell people, and I've told people this on numerous groups, and I've educated people, especially with special needs, and I've told them, never say that you're alone. I may have addressed it to women, mostly, but I think it's very important for women to realize this, because a lot of assault cases, a lot of assault cases is usually involving a woman, and the woman is usually the victim or the survivor of that. So yeah, there's certain places where you can be by yourself, and you can walk around, and like I walk around my neighborhood and I don't worry about anything. I walk around with attitude, and it's really how you hold yourself. There's some outer towners that might pick me up, but I'm not getting in their car. And I will act as, if they try to grab me, I will start to do crazy shit. I'll be like, yeah, like I know. So this is a good tactic. When you're out, you're a woman, you're out and about, you're not familiar with the neighborhood, or you're in a part of the neighborhood that you know is dangerous, which shame on you. No, it's just, but you know it's dangerous, and you're thinking to yourself, well, what do I do? I'm gonna say, do the ministry of silly walks, okay? You know Monty Python, where they do their funny walks? Do all of those. Do the Pennywise dance, with your legs going like this as you're walking. If you're in a situation where somebody is being weird and they seem predatory, be as fucking weird as you can be. Because this is the thing. Predators are looking for someone that is easy to handle. They're looking for someone that's vulnerable, somebody that doesn't have anybody around for them. They're looking for someone that has a lost look on their face, or they're just sniffing around for somebody. Who can I grab that isn't gonna fight? But if you show that you're fucking crazy, like you're clinically insane, you're not just some sad mentally ill woman that's hobbling, the bag lady. No, you're the crazy, you're you're mad, you're so crazy it's scary. If you show that, just do the leer and smile and go like this, because I'm gonna tell you, this works. John Astin did it. John Astin was a small man. The guy that plays Gomez Adams in the original series. He was a small dude. He didn't have anybody that was protecting him. He was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's the ghetto, okay? Milwaukee, Wisconsin is the ghetto. It's a dangerous place in some areas. In most of the areas, but there might be some streets that are okay. I don't know. I've never been there. But he had to have a way. He couldn't overpower anyone. He couldn't be like, I'm a big man. That's going to get you killed. So the one thing that he would do is he would go, hi, how you doing? And they stayed the fuck away from him. True story. He would do that in the ghetto, and they'd leave him alone. See, the thing is, although someone mentally ill or crazy might be attractive or might be valuable to someone that is looking for, sex trafficking or whatever, kidnapping, they're gonna look for, is this person mentally unstable to the point where they need someone to take care of them? Are they vulnerable? Now, if you're freaking doing a Pennywise walk while you're grinning, try to do it as high maintenance as you can, because the one thing that they don't want is high maintenance insanity. Okay, they don't want a high maintenance crazy person. Crazy means work. Crazy means screaming. It means drama. It means you're gonna end up getting your balls kicked in. You're not gonna get anything from it. You're going to have a black eye, and you will be humiliated. Because that woman, I know it's really cool on the internet, like, oh, I got this crazy girlfriend, but crazy up front is not cute. It's not funny. It's terrifying. So be as terrifying as you possibly can. Be like a monster, you know, just kind of slink away. Do the riffraff, you know, do whatever it is. Like, do the strangest thing that you can think of, and do it vigorously. Because I can assure you, if somebody is going to, like, even if they grab a hold of you, be as high maintenance as you can. If that means screaming, if that means kicking, if that means yelling, if that means doing everything you can to draw attention to yourself, that's the main thing. Because if someone is going to take you from point A to point B, they need to, you know, they're not going to grab someone that's shouting or screaming. They're like, oh, this is too high maintenance, I'm not going to go. So try to be as extra as you can. If you're out and about and you're a woman, be extra. Be extra. Be as extra as you can be. Be a Disney villain. Be a gothic princess. You don't need to necessarily, like, wear makeup and shit. You just be. Just be your favorite sidekick. Be Igor. Be Frankenstein. Whatever it is you want. In fact, you could do a Frankenstein walk if you want. But the main thing is, if you think you're in trouble, or you're in a position where a predator is going to make a move on you, the best thing, you know, there may be people that would never, like, actually go through with it. You know, they're just looking and they're just following around. But if you go around, like, for one thing, this is actually not something that I came up with, but it's from a Belgian woman. You should ask, hey, what is your blood type? Be like that. You know, you should be like, I like AB positive. Be as disgusting as you can be, because there's nothing scarier than a female predator. I'm gonna say that is totally gonna turn them off. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna have a restraining order against you. Good. Have a restraining order against me. That should tell you to fucking leave me alone. That's a warning, okay? It's not so much that women can't be predators. Women can be predators just as much as men. Just like men are emotional just as women are. I think so many people are like, well, women are more emotional than men. Do you know that men have, like, periods? Not periods like we do, but they have periods of time where their testosterone is highest, and it will fluctuate up and down. And if it's high, they're going to be a little bit more emotional. How many times have you known a man, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your father, your uncle, whatever, friend, that put something together? They don't read the instructions, they put it together, and then they find out that it's wrong, and they get pissed off and they start banging and screaming. Don't tell me that men are the sane ones, okay? Men can go off the rocker, men can get crazy, men can have bulimia, men can have can be raped, men can have it can happen. The reason is nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about anorexic men. It's always the women. Because women have so much pressure. Men have pressure too, it's just in different areas. Men have a pressure when it comes to their body. They're pressured into hiding their emotions, being buff, looking a certain way, acting a certain way. They are they're not somehow on a different plane. They're just experiencing the same things, but it's next door, okay? It's not the fact that it's different levels. I think that's what people get confused. It's like, well, it's let's say you live in an apartment and next door there's somebody else, okay? That is the proximity of men and women, okay? Men are getting all of this stuff. They're told to do all of this stuff that's not healthy for them, but it's expected of them. And then women are told to do stuff that's not healthy for them, but they're expected to do that. Why can we not just get along? It's not that hard. You know, I think we're so told that about what feminism is. I think feminism is about equality. And if we're fighting against the man, we're fighting against the one thing that could help us. If you want to fight for women, don't hate men. You hate on men, you've lost the battle. You've lost it. The feminism, there are men that are feminists. It literally means you support women. Women can support women. Why can't men support them? That's all that means. Feminism was a movement that was created because people wanted to have equal rights, they wanted to vote, and they wanted to have better jobs. They wanted to be seen and heard. Well, we are seen and heard now. Why are we still fighting? Shouldn't we be, holding hands? Kumbayaing? That should be the idea. But no, we have to fight against the man that's taking our life. No, I'm sorry, but no, men aren't destroying it for you. They may. In certain situations, but that's not everywhere. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to go.